Hey, everybody here. Welcome to the DA Wrestling Podcast here. I am your host, Andrew Purcell. And with me, as always, is my hetero life mate, Doug Lyons. And today, folks, a little different, different episode. We have our own top 10 lists for this year Wrestlers of the Year. It's been a great year in wrestling, probably one of the best on record in the past couple of years for sure. AEW has been thriving for the most part. WE has really taken off again, like they were back in about 10 years ago. So they're doing extremely well. And Ring of Honor has come back somewhat with the Fury, but not really with the Fury. And everywhere else, though, is just looking really good as far as the wrestling community goes. And a lot of people are very excited. We still have a lot of the loyalists, but this isn't a loyalist list. This is basically who we think are the best wrestlers of the year according to us, not PW Insider, not What Culture,
Just two dumbasses
any of those
that live
guys.
up in Canada.
Just two guys who live in Canada, one who films in his basement, the other one who films in his kitchen close to his fridge so he can grab a beer. Right? We are here just to give you our top 10 lists. Right? We're gonna see how they differ, see how if they match up, right? But I don't think there'll ever be a fully consensus number one.
But I think this year there is a consensus number one.
But well, it is consensus number one.
Not between us.
Not between us, but I think with ESPN there is right now. So that was announced Thursday, but we'll get to that later on. So Doug, I'll leave the floor to you right now. Who is your number 10 on your list?
My number 10 is Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega.
I will tell you why. Because this dude started off the year returning to New Japan for the first time in years and putting on an absolute clinic with Will Ospreay.
Yes.
You couple that with what he was doing on AEW television throughout the year. The feud with the BCC, which resulted in Blood and Guts, Stadium Stampede, or was it Anarchy in the Arena? No, Anarchy in the Arena. That's the one. In Toronto, or not Toronto, but yeah, there was the Elite got back together.
Yep.
Had great matches. Obviously, and I'll talk about this in another episode, but a perennial match of the year candidate with the second part against Will Ospreay in Toronto. And although he's kind of wavered a bit in this Don Callis feud with Chris Jericho, he's still one of the best on the planet. And I know he's out sick right now. We hope he gets better. But Kenny Omega is number 10 on my list.
Really? Well, that is a good number 10 start at. My number 10, I'm going to go with a female. I'm going to go Julia Hart.
Okay.
I thought Julia Hart had a very good year, quite a good year compared to some of the other women on the main shows. Compared to say Rhea Ripley or Bianca Belair, or Io Sky, or
kind of like a breakout star.
Yeah, she's done extremely well this year. She has come full circle with the whole House of Black gimmick. I love the House of Black. I'm not really choosing her because of that, but I just think the way she's been presented, the how she has matured in the ring, and how she has gotten better every single time she is in there, and her character development has just become full notch. And I know you mentioned earlier, probably I think it might have been on a private talk or not. You see her being a future women's AEW champion, and I don't think you're wrong on that. I don't think you're wrong.
No, I also think that division's very thin, and I think that Julia's only 22?
Yeah,
23, something like that. So like she's got a lot of years ahead of her if she wants to. So I have no doubt she'll one day be champion.
Yeah.
So Julia Hart's your number 10, eh?
I think that's a good place for it. That's a good place
Alright.
for it. So, and number 9.
For me, okay, so this guy has caught all the attention lately, and I'm talking about Swerve Strickland. Okay,
So we're strictly number 9. I thought you'd
right.
have him higher. We've talked pretty high praise on about Swerve Strickland here.
And I
It's
would I
pretty high,
would
pretty
put
low.
Swerve if I would put Swerve higher if it was the entire year, which all of these people I have ahead of him
Mhm,
had an entire year's body of work that was just phenomenal.
mhm.
But Swerve was my breakout wrestler of the year.
Yeah,
Um, in the Mogul Embassy stuff, on again, off again stuff with Keith Lee in the beginning of the year.
yeah.
But I would say from the summer until now, this dude has turned into one of the biggest stars in AEW.
Hmm.
I mean, Prince Nana just helps with the presentation.
Hmm.
And I think that they tested him against Hangman with that feud, and he hit a home fucking run.
Yeah, Swerve. You know what? It's you see what Strickland has been doing in AEW.
Mm,
It really does boggle the mind and how WWE had let that slip away. It really is. Like he was gaining steam in NXT, and they came to the roster. And they basically took a giant dump on it, and
yeah,
they
I
released him.
mean,
And
he went from Hit Row to now he's the biggest, one of the biggest guys in AEW.
yeah,
And I have no doubt right now,
mhm.
if Joe doesn't take the belt from MJF on Saturday, now keep in mind we're recording this post Dynamite Wednesday, the 27th.
Yes,
So if Samoa Joe doesn't take the title from MJF, I think Swerve will. I 100% think Swerve will.
you know what? It's entirely possible. I can see it that way for sure.
And honestly, I think Swerve and Hangman, if Omega and Osprey didn't exist, that's probably my feud of the year.
It's got to be in top 5
Oh yeah,
for
100%.
sure. Has to be in top 5. I mean, maybe even top 3, but top 5 for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I definitely like the choice of Swerve being. I think he could have been a little bit higher on the list, but I do
So I'm
like.
guessing he's
I
higher
agree.
in yours.
He's a little bit higher on mine.
Okay.
But I like my next pick at number 9 is I like this guy as much as I like when people like and subscribe to our stuff. Guys, it's a big help if you guys all do it. Just give us a like, give
You
us
and
a
your
subscribe.
cheap
Enjoy
slugs.
it, Jay. It just helps us out as much as we possibly can to give you best better content. It helps us motivate us more to do more things. But
Yeah.
my number 9, you might not agree with it,
Hmm.
but I love the guy, is Samoa Joe.
Oh, and you know
And
what?
I think I think Samoa Joe
Mhm.
is going to end. He's had a really good year. He had that point. Like he was mostly doing a lot of the Ring of Honor stuff, but you always saw him on AEW Dynamite, always having good feuds, always having shows how great of him on the mic he really is.
Oh yeah.
Not let alone a great performer. Just an all around badass. But I think he ends the year with the title. It has to. It
You
looks
so
really good.
you think he is going to beat MJF on Saturday night?
Not to give away on the predictions, but I think MJF loses to Samoa Joe, albeit with shenanigans. Half
Now,
gas,
little insider baseball. This episode will probably go up after the Dynamite review.
most likely.
So I'll probably choose to put the Dynamite review tomorrow morning,
Yeah.
and then I'll put this up probably Friday morning.
Or I might even put this up actually the day before New Year's.
I could put this up New Year's Day, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do this New Year's Day.
Yeah, probably best because then you give us a full 10 on there. And people, I think guys will like that. It gives you something to relax and enjoy on New Year's Day when you're recovering from your alcoholic bender. God knows we're all going to do that probably. Number 8. This could be this should be an interesting one.
So number 8, remember how I said every guy in front of So the reason why I have especially this guy above Swerve is he was consistent all year and hits Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn.
Okay. So he began the year in the middle of that, at the peak of the Bloodline story. And he was right in the middle of it.
Well, it culminated. The turn happened at the Rumble.
Yeah. So he started the year in that, like the trial of Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
I just watched that back a few days ago.
Mhm.
And dude, it's still just as good. And and then leading up to the match in Montreal.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you would have thought he was the biggest babyface on the planet.
He in Montreal. Now, as we've said before, we are from Toronto.
Mhm.
Just right. This is Leaf Nation, but and Montreal is, well, we all know it's Hab Nation. But I swear to God, when he was in Montreal for Elimination Chamber against Roman Reigns,
Yep.
yeah, I swear for like that 48-hour period, he was bigger than the Habs. I swear to God.
But you know what? For that 48-hour period, there was part of me, a very small part of me, but there was a part of me that actually believed they might have pulled the trigger.
It looked like it a lot. Like it really looked like it. Like it that match. I remember watching that match too. And like you swear to God, he thought they were going to pull the trigger and say Sami Zayn's going to
Especially
WrestleMania as the head champion.
especially after Jay gets involved and Roman hits him with or Sammy hits him with the
Palooza.
Haluva kick by accident,
Yeah.
and then which led to the end of the match. I was like, there's a chance he might actually do this, right?
Yeah, it
And then
was.
and then he managed to parlay that,
Mhm.
reunite with Kevin Owens,
Yep.
win the tag titles in the main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
The run with the titles was kind of lackluster, but I think what he's done since kind of separating from Owens in the summer,
Yep.
or sorry, in the fall.
Yeah, I find the fall has kind of dropped off a lot. I find.
Yeah, but I still think I consider him one of the top guys on Raw,
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
and it showed at Survivor Series as well.
Yeah, it was really he was really good at Survivor Series too.
So
I mean,
I
it
think
got overshadowed by Mr. Orton and returning CM Punk, but yeah, he did well.
which full disclosure, you're not going to see CM Punk on this list.
No, absolutely not. He is not on this list at all. He caused more problems than matches this year. I mean, he did have a good match at Wembley. Don't get me wrong. It's almost like an honorable mention, but he's not on my list at all this year.
He only had a handful of matches this year, but
Yeah, honorable mention. That's it. But he's not. He's not on my list. Um,
okay, so yeah, that's why I
mine.
have Sami Zayn at
That's
8.
good. That's good. My number 8 is now your number. Was your number 9 is Swerve Strickland.
Okay.
Same reasons for you. I think Swerve is. He's come a long way. Like I said, what I've already mentioned before about the NXT stuff. He is just. He's a
He's
future. He's a
money.
future AEW World Champion in my eyes. You say
Swerve is
MJF. I don't know about that, but I wouldn't put it past it either.
I honestly think it could happen as early as Revolution in March.
It's possible, but I'm saying I'm gonna stick with Samoa Joe.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. So
let's go number 7. Now, 7 should be interesting here. Who do you have for 7?
7, he's not the highest WWE guy I have on here, but he should be WWE's MVP this year.
Okay.
And that's the Intercontinental Champion, Gunther.
Mm.
Holy shit, this dude is, I mean, I can't even find the right words for Gunther. I'm just in amazement watching him. And all year, super consistent worker.
Mm-hmm.
He went an hour and 11 minutes in the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
The triple threat at Mania, the series of matches he had with Chad Gable, the series of matches he just had recently with The Miz.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, he gave The Miz two of the best matches of The Miz's entire 15, almost 20-year career,
Sure.
right? So for that, the Ring General
Mm-hmm.
is number 7.
Number 7, the Ring General. Okay, my number 7. I'm going John Boy. I'm going
John
John
Moxley.
Moxley. John. I mean, yes, I know I'm a fan of John Moxley. I get that. So are you. But to me, that he's like the workhorse of that AEW thing. He is the go-to guy. He is the man. They know if they have to, they will strap the towel to him again, and they'll let him go off, and he'll do whatever it is has to do. This man goes everywhere, does everything for the company. He is a full-out company man. He is like AJ Styles, but in AEW, he's a full-out company guy. He's just has done amazing work. His work through the whole Continental Classic, I pretty much is basically the only matches I really watched. His work all year has
Well,
just been off the charts.
even the stuff I mentioned when I was talking about Kenny Omega,
Mm-hmm.
um, the BCC versus the Elite
Yeah.
was was a fantastic feud,
Mm-hmm.
and Blood and Guts is right up John Moxley's alley, and
Yeah. Like he
that
knows how
sick
to do that stuff.
that sick motherfucker brought out a fucking nail board.
Oh yeah, like when he put Kenny Omega into that and then hit him, then sat like landed on him for it. Jesus. I mean, Kenny's a good sport for that.
Yeah,
He's a good sport.
oh my God.
Right.
I will be honest, John Moxley would be like 11 on this list for me.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Like we might live by being I'd be honest, like I mean, even if this dude here, I kind of flip flop a little bit here and there, but it's pretty much
Mhm.
where it is right now. I thought about Gunther as well. I don't get me wrong. When you said Gunther, I go,
It's not too late to pencil him in.
no, but I would change. I would change. I would almost want to move Julia Hart out, and I don't think she deserves that because she has worked really hard all year round.
Yeah,
I think
I
she just
understand.
deserves to be in that top 10.
I understand. So
Number 6.
number six, I have the world heavyweight champion Seth Rollins.
We have Seth.
So, I mean, Rumble not doing too much.
Mm-hmm.
Mania banger match with Logan Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Then they start this world heavyweight championship stuff
Yeah.
and consistently puts on great matches. I mean, he had a great match in the finals with AJ in Saudi Arabia.
Very true.
And then just the title defenses, man. Like super consistent.
He
Um,
he's like John in AEW, the workhorse.
yeah, 100%. And listen, with the pending or like the much foresighted feud he has coming up with CM Punk,
So absolutely.
I mean, I think Seth hit it on the head with that promo a couple weeks ago with
Yeah.
Punk.
His home.
He's gonna show Punk in real time what it means to be the best in the world.
It's hard to argue that statement
No,
from Rollins right now. Really, I
there's
mean,
very there's very few people that can say that with that much confidence, and
yeah.
you could be like, yeah, okay, he's in the conversation.
You know, like so, yeah, because like probably some of these guys on our list
So it's probably most of them.
are on yeah are on.
Yeah,
You can argue it our best in the world right now as we speak.
yeah, 100%. So yeah,
Uh,
Seth Rollins is number 6 for me.
Rollins. All right, so I'm gonna take what you said there, and I'm gonna see your number 10 as my number 6, and that's Kenny Omega.
Oh, okay.
I thought in my eyes, Kenny had a really good year. You mentioned already with the Bucks, the BBC. Um, you mentioned there's also Forbidden Door with Osprey. This guy's had a really great year. The last month is obviously his sick. We hope Kenny does get better. Pray for yourself there, bud. But he's had the only thing I didn't really like with the Omega stuff is probably Don Callis crap. I liked him in the early going, but now it's just irritating Don Callis.
Yeah, so if I could just really quickly on that,
Yeah.
I loved the initial turn.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was like it was time.
The initial turn was incredible,
Yeah, I feel it should have went on for a month. Not longer.
but it has now gone on. That happened, Andrew, in like May
Was that in May? I thought it was
or
August.
June. The turn
Yeah,
was like June or July, something like that.
well, no. Yeah. It was because he already turned
He
before
turned
Forbidden
before
Door.
blood,
Before
yeah,
Forbidden Door. Yeah, so yeah,
and
you're so yeah.
before Blood and Guts.
Yeah, so
So
it was like May because Forbidden Door was
June, the end of
June.
June.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, that was about May, either beginning of June or early or mid May. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
But
that's kind of a long time. My God,
yeah.
can't they find anything else for Don to do?
Well, I mean, like they're trying to build a little stable, but anyways,
Yeah, I
uh,
have Kenny at my number six. I
okay.
say good year. And we talked about this best of the world stuff just a couple seconds ago with Seth Rollins. You could argue Kenny too, still in that conversation.
I would say Kenny Omega. I would say Kenny Omega 4 years ago.
Hmm. Well, he did.
Kenny Omega right now is very formulaic.
Mhm.
He has a routine of what spots to hit in his matches, and he's fucking brilliant at it.
Yeah, I think you also might see Kenny slowly winding down now. He's gone through a
Absolutely.
lot of crap.
I wouldn't argue him for number one anymore, but he's still in like the top five, top 10.
Oh, for sure. You argue
Yeah.
you could argue top 10 for sure, 100%. I mean, that's where I have we have them both here in this. You
Yeah.
at the top of the 10, and I have them like about almost the halfway point. So, uh,
So speaking of the halfway point,
yeah, halfway point. Who do you got for your halfway point?
I got mommy.
Really?
I got Rhea Ripley,
Yeah,
which
Ripley, eh?
which is the only female I have on this list
Mhm.
because I could I had way too many cases for males to be on this list.
Fair enough.
And like I wish I'd watched more Stardom,
Mhm.
because I know up until they got hit with the injury bug in the fall,
They're having a really good year.
they had a Jesus Christ, they had so many, like that's all I would see on the timeline sometimes. If there was a Stardom show, I
Mhm.
see highlights of that shit all day on my timeline.
Well, you look at some of the people who are there anymore too. Mercedes Money, the former Sasha Banks, she's a free agent looking to be
Uh,
somewhere else. She's coming back from an injury. Kyrie Sane has left and now back in WWE.
but
Mariah May is now in AEW. She hasn't done anything yet there in AEW, but she is apparently very good.
right, but Guida's still there.
Yeah,
I mean, I think Guida's probably one of the best women's wrestlers in the world.
yeah. Well,
Um,
they
but
have,
the only reason I don't have women like that on my list is because I'm not familiar enough with their stuff
and that's a
to
fair assessment.
right.
Can't knock
But
that.
okay, so on to Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
I would say throughout this year, her crowning achievement is like she's really cemented herself as the leader of Judgment Day.
Oh, 100% she is. I don't really care what they say about Damien Priest. She's the leader.
Oh, absolutely. Which, by the way, another honorable mention to this year is Damian Priest.
Absolutely. He's probably top 20 for sure this year.
But between the Bad Bunny match, winning Money in the Bank, and just being a solid performer. But
Yeah, that Bad Bunny at Payback in Puerto Rico was a phenomenal match.
right. But anyway, so back to Mommy.
Mhm.
Um, Charlotte and Rhea at WrestleMania
Yeah.
is not only the best women's match at a WrestleMania that I've
Mhm.
ever seen,
Yeah.
it may be the best WWE women's match I've ever seen.
You know,
The before that, Before that, I would have said Sasha and Bailey NXT Takeover Brooklyn 1. That's all.
That's most the benchmark.
That's usually the bar.
Yeah, that's like here, and then everybody else is trying to really hit that,
But
right?
I think
Some have surpassed it, some have not.
I think that match just shattered it.
Yeah, it was a really good match. Definitely better than the first encounter, although the first encounter was during a pandemic. So I mean, you can't really knock too bad.
I think we should all just like forget that WrestleMania 36 ever happened.
I'll never forget that because I was the first one I got to watch at home and entirely for 2 days to do nothing. I loved it.
I mean,
I hope for it. I hope for it every year now.
there's parts of that WrestleMania we can keep,
Well,
but
the Seth Rollins versus Owens match,
which is only remembered for Owens being an idiot and diving off the big sign.
nothing wrong with that. Right? I'm an
But
idiot.
anyways, let me get back to Rhea.
Yeah, sorry.
All right. She has run through the entirety of the women's division.
Literally, except for everybody on SmackDown.
Yeah. And I honestly, I don't even know who a credible WrestleMania challenger would be.
It's right now. It's very difficult to say who is going to be Rhea Ripley's challenger for WrestleMania.
But
We've
that's
said in
what
the past Shayna Baszler.
right. But like that being said, like she is head and shoulders above each and every single one of them outside of maybe Becky Lynch.
Yeah, actually, that wouldn't be a bad match.
Right? Outside of maybe Becky Lynch, Rhea Ripley is head and shoulders over each and every single one of them.
Yeah, Rhea as
And her presentation, the dominance that she shows in the ring.
Mhm.
I wish she had better people to work with this year.
Yeah, that's true. I feel most of the talent is on SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a contract reason.
But I think that overall, just a consistent year, and she's my women's wrestler of the year for WWE.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
You got it 5.
Controversial. I'm taking the tribal chief number 5. I'm taking Reigns.
State your case.
Not as many matches, not as many appearances, but when he's there, he arguably has one of the best matches on the card every single time he's there. He's a must-see guy. He is literally like I don't want to say the new Brock Lesnar, but he's like Brock in a sense, but better in a sense.
Except he's a bigger star than Brock ever wanted to be.
Yeah. Reigns to me also is not around enough to really garner wrestler of the year or be a number one. He's not around enough right now. He's just not. And that to me, if you're going to be a wrestler of the year, you have to be around far more often than you. At least in the top 3, you should be more there regularly than you are currently.
Right.
And that's a fair assessment.
100%.
All right. Number 4.
Number 4, I have the highest WWE guy I have on here.
Okay.
And that is Cody Rhodes.
Ooh, going Cody.
Yeah. And between coming back from the injury, winning the Royal Rumble, his road to Mania with Roman, even though he lost at Mania, I think the immediately going into a program with Brock Lesnar, although the matches left a little to be desired, I think the blow-off was really good.
The blow-off is the best one of all of them.
Right. And I also, I think the angles in between were really, really good. I just like the matches themselves left a bit to be desired.
Yeah. I find he wrestles more in WWE now than he did in AEW. That's just kind of what I've observed.
Well, so after the Brock feud, it was with the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
It gets into it with the Judgment Day.
Yep.
And I mean, shit. Cody can have a fucking match with any of those 4 guys and main event somewhere.
I'm wondering now you mentioned Cody. I'll mention it. I'll mention it later on. I'm wondering now actually with Cody, if Cody doesn't win the Rumble, they don't put him in the title match. You think they do a feud with Orton for WrestleMania?
Pardon me?
If hypothetically speaking, Cody doesn't win the Rumble,
Right, and they
and,
give it to CM Punk.
and they give it to CM Punk, and hypothetically he doesn't get a chance to go against Roman Reigns. Let's say they
Right.
change their mind. You think he goes against Orton at they start a feud with Orton for WrestleMania?
Yes.
Wow. I think that'd be a great match as a replacement if you can't get it with Reigns.
Cody Rhodes' opponent for WrestleMania is one of two people. If it's anybody else, then like, I don't know. I'll fucking eat a hot pepper on the podcast. I don't know. But it's either going to be Roman Reigns or Randy Orton.
Fair enough.
One of the two.
Has to be. Uh, that leads me to my fourth person, and my fourth is Will Ospreay.
Wow. All right, buddy. You
All
better
right.
start talking.
He's my number four because, quite frankly, I don't see enough of he's on a lot. I've seen a lot. I've seen Forbidden Door, which is a great match, but I also
Okay.
don't see enough of
All
Will
right.
Ospreay myself to see him. Like I see a lot of him in AEW. I haven't had a chance to see a lot of other stuff in New Japan this year as well, either though. But I'm
All
looking forward to
right.
next year. Next year he's probably behind my list. But all the reasons that you expressed for Ospreay for being where he is, because you haven't mentioned Ospreay yet on yours, have you?
No.
He's probably in your top three. So
And you could probably guess which one he is.
he's probably well. I'll leave that there. I'll leave that guessing for all the viewers. But I'm going to say right now, Will Ospreay is number four,
Okay.
and that's where I'm going to stick. So my top three is very interesting. So
So is mine. And
who's your top three? Who's your three?
my three is the AEW World Champion MJF.
Really?
There's nobody better in the world on the microphone. Although he can get a little corny sometimes.
Mhm.
I am captivated every single time I see that man pick up a microphone.
Mhm.
And you look at the string of matches this dude had this year.
Who's who at AEW?
AEW or at Revolution, the Iron Man match.
Yep.
Like, I mean, he starts with that and literally just runs through the whole roster all year.
Yeah.
And I mean, here we are at the end of 2023, and this is like the first time I can think of since his like meteoric rise last summer,
Mhm.
where like people are starting to cool off on him.
Yep.
But I think that the body of work that he's turned in this year, he
Mhm.
absolutely deserves number three.
All right. Okay.
Who do you got at three?
I have Rhea Ripley.
Okay.
Main reason she is the most dominant female currently in the wrestling landscape. Nobody really on the wrestling can touch her as far as her ability in the ring goes,
Yep.
as far as her mic skills go. You've seen where she started out as like a cute blonde from Australia, very novice, to what she has become now. And she's easily the best women's wrestler on the planet right now. There's not really one that's better. Unless you go to we could say stuff in Stardom, but I haven't seen enough Stardom to really give you a definitive answer on that. So I'm going to say Rhea Ripley.
I would say the only people that could challenge that statement probably wrestle for Stardom.
Yeah, and I would say, like, if Sasha Banks didn't get injured, or sorry, Mercedes Moné injured, maybe Rhea's not in the top three. Maybe she's not as high because
how many matches has Moné had since?
She's only had 3 matches this year, but she tore her ACL, so she's been recovering for the past number of months. So I mean, we haven't seen it on a full year yet since the return, and then all that. So, oh, this could change next year for sure, but we'll see from there. So I have
Right.
Rhea Ripley at number 3. So who is your number 2?
My number 2 is the American Dragon,
Oh,
Bryan Danielson. Now, I just mentioned the match he had with MJF to start the year as kind of revenge for. So after MJF, I mean, he's back with the BCC, just kind of doing his thing.
yeah,
Does the thing with the Elite, and then boom, out of nowhere, challenges fucking Kazuchika Okada in Toronto. Excuse
yeah,
me.
yeah. That was great.
And
He got his match back too.
pardon me.
He got his match back too at Dynamite. I think it was.
So, by the way, if you go into that match not knowing that Danielson breaks his arm halfway through the match, it's still phenomenal.
Oh yeah, for sure.
When you take into account that he did break his arm on the elbow drop
Yeah.
by Okada,
Mm-hmm.
it makes it even more incredible.
It does.
And the fact that it is a short list of people that have made Okada submit.
Mm-hmm.
And he allowed Danielson to put himself on that list.
Yeah, that's very honorable
Right.
because Okada could have just said
He could
no.
have just said beat me clean with the knee.
That's true too. Yeah, he could.
You know? He could have said just beat me clean with the knee and that's it.
Yeah, he didn't have to
Well,
go an extra mile.
well guess what? Then he goes ahead against Zack Sabre Jr.
Mm-hmm.
as soon as his arm's better.
Yeah,
Zack Sabre Jr.
and I don't think that feud's over either. I think they're gonna come. I think they're gonna bring that one back around. I think next year.
Oh,
I think next year's Forbidden Door, you're gonna see Zack Sabre Jr. versus Bryan Danielson again.
I don't even think it's going to be Forbidden Door. I think that shit's going to be at Wembley.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I think that shit's going to be in Wembley.
Mm,
Zack Sabre Jr. is from England,
yeah.
you know,
Well, they had Osprey there this year, right? So
right? And you know, so and then what he's from basically from your accounts, you've been helping me keep up with it, but you know, very, very good throughout the Continental Classic, I guess, even with a broken orbital bone. Is
yeah.
that
Well, that's the gimmick they're going with. He has a broken orbital bone. Yeah.
yeah, okay.
But he's been really selling the injury. He's been really good at that too. Like I said, he lost tonight, but doesn't really matter. He's
Right.
that was made to make somebody. So
So
it's a
yeah,
good choice
Bryan Danielson is number 2 for me.
for me. It's Cody.
Okay.
Very consistent.
That's respectable.
Hasn't had a bad match all year, at least in my opinion. His best one was probably Reigns all year round. But his Brock feud, like I said, his Brock feud was good. It was definitely a difference to see him go against someone like Brock
Mm-hmm.
with different dynamic for sure. So like that was really good. Uh, then he did the whole what's it called? What was it? War Games match, and he was good in the War Games match.
Yep.
You know, I thought he's had an all year round good year. Then he goes right into the stuff with Shinsuke Nakamura, which I'm still waiting. We're still waiting on to see where that one's going farther forward, but that looks very intriguing as well with him. So I think he's had just a relatively great year with WWE, a good second year. And I think he's number 2
Well,
on the list.
considering his first year basically consisted of 3 months
Yeah,
and then he got hurt. But
yeah,
yeah, I agree.
yeah.
So I
And
guess that leads to the big reveal, right?
yeah,
Who's
your
number
big
1?
reveal. Who's your number 1? And I think I have a good idea where we're going with this one for you.
If you've been paying attention,
Yeah,
especially with the hint I dropped a few minutes ago,
yep.
It is the aerial assassin, Will Ospreay.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Is there anybody better in ring than Will Ospreay right now? The answer
Well,
is no.
well, according to him, it's no one. Like he's even sit there and say he's like, I want to see if you're better than me. Bro, you're not.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not, and it's not even close.
no, I mean he his work just the whole Forbidden Door for us in Toronto. He literally made it. Not just him versus Kenny, him versus the entire country of Canada.
Listen,
You know,
he's a sick fuck. Okay,
yeah, like he,
on the day of the supposed Benoit murders, pull out a crossface.
yeah.
He's a sick fuck. But
Well,
I love him to death because
he's
this dude walks around shitting out 5-star matches.
yeah. He's
Okay.
also very humble. One thing we don't mention enough about Osprey is he's very
Yeah.
humble. If you follow him on Twitter and some of the things that he says, he's very, very humble about a lot
I
of
felt
things.
really bad. I felt really bad for Osprey because of the whole all in attendance thing.
Mm-hmm.
The man went out, he'd never got a tattoo before. He went out and got a tattoo of that
Mm-hmm.
and the attendance number, only to find out like 2 days later that it was the wrong number, or like a week later that it was the wrong number. I felt really bad for him. I really did. But he got to perform in Wembley against one of the greatest wrestling superstars of all time in Chris Jericho.
That was a very underrated match, actually, considering.
Listen, there's you cannot put underrated and Will Ospreay in the same sentence.
Well, because when
Okay.
people think they should think Osprey, they don't think Jericho's match, right? That's why I say
No,
underrated.
no,
That's why I
no.
say that's why I say underrated.
Okay, well, I wouldn't say it's underrated. I think it's probably rated. It's just one of those matches that flew under the radar this
Yeah.
year.
Well, Wembley was so huge and everything too. So, I mean, there's also a lot of controversy at Wembley. We don't need to get into that.
No,
So,
I think maybe you and I need to sit down over the first couple of weeks of the new year and just kind of like just spend an hour or two just shitting on what was bad
yeah,
in wrestling this year,
we do that.
including and yes, I'm gonna take my shots at CM Punk on that one.
Fair enough. We don't need to take shots at CM Punk here now.
Right. So
So
yeah, Will
that's yours.
Ospreay is number one in your programs, in your hearts.
Well, my number one is not so far from you. Well, it involves yours. Your number one. My number one is MJF.
Okay.
I think MJF, because you mentioned Will Ospreay too. Will Ospreay has mentioned that he wants to go against MJF because MJF's sister says, I'm better than you, you know it. And Ospreay's response is, bro, no, you're not. You think,
No.
no, you can't sit there and tell me you are.
Now,
Right? Now, MJF has had a killer year. This whole storyline right now, even though it's kind of dragged on a little too long, is still very intriguing. Every
yeah.
time you hit the nail on the head when you said, every time he picks the mic, I want to hear what he's going to say
Mm-hmm.
because it's usually something funny. And he started out the year as like a heel, but
Mm-hmm.
has gradually turned into this massive baby face. He's arguably the most popular guy in AEW.
He is the most popular
Yeah,
guy in AEW.
and you can argue that he might be the most popular guy in the current state of wrestling. You could argue it.
No, he's not. Roman Reigns.
I said argue. I didn't say you could also just say it. As I said, argue. Right?
I'm arguing with you. It's Roman Reigns.
Mm, I don't know. At this point now, I don't know anymore. It's hard to say. But MJF to me is number one. He's right now. He's one of the best wrestlers on the planet. We talked about earlier about this top 10 list, how he is. We mentioned MJF all a couple times to this whole show. He's just number one. Like, he to me, all the work he's done this year will become right. His whole title run this year has been great. His match with Cole was a great match. You can't even
Which
deny
one?
that.
Which one? The one at Dynamite or the one at All In?
The one All In was really good, but the Dynamite one was really good though too. Like they're both really good matches. Now it's 50-50 on that one because Cole is a great wrestler too. Unfortunately, Cole has had a really tough year, to say the least. And
Run of
Cole,
injuries, man.
and to be honest, with you, if Cole wasn't injured, Cole would probably be my top three for sure for
Hmm.
this year. But he, unfortunately, his injury bug has hit him pretty hard this year, which is depressing because I mean he almost wasn't able to wrestle again. So he's an honorable mention on my list, along with Io Sky, along with a couple others. Like Brian Downs is not on my list, but he is an honorable mention on mine. I just think that these people on my list had a better year. Still, statistically, to me, they're there. To me, someone like Brian Danielson wasn't. He has good matches when he's there, but he wasn't there enough, in my opinion. But that's also too because he'll probably also he's wanting. He's already mentioned he's wanting it down.
Yeah,
So
100%.
so he's already mentioned that. So
And quick little note on Brian Danielson.
mm,
When you guys hear this, New Year's Day, okay, he'll be on his way to Japan
mhm.
to take on Okada for round 2, and hope he doesn't get his arm broken again.
Yeah, he's gonna be Wrestle Kingdom.
He's going to do Wrestle Kingdom. He's going to go wrestle in the Tokyo Dome, which is something he said he wanted to do from the minute he left WWE.
Yeah, I'm wishing all luck on that one.
And honestly, I wish I will be able to find a place to watch it,
Mm-hmm. And
because that's
unfortunately,
gonna that's
it's
gonna
hard
be
to
a
be able
hell
to
of a
watch it
match.
live. Yeah, it's hard to watch it live.
Well, listen, I'm not staying up till 5 in the morning to watch it.
It's very true.
Don't get me wrong, but I will find a way to watch that match.
For sure.
On
Well,
that note,
that was our top 10. Feel free to comment down below what you think your top 10 might be because it might be like ours, might not be like ours.
did we miss somebody obvious that neither one of us are thinking of?
Yeah,
Let
is
us
it
know.
possible? Yeah. If you guys think it's better, then who's better? Let us know. Right.
Listen, I'll argue all of y'all in the comments.
Fair enough. So that's it for me. Doug, send us out.
All right. Well, you can find the show, Spotify, Google Podcast, YouTube.
Apple hates
Uh,
us.
I'm giving up on Apple for now. I'll figure out something different about that later. But um, anyways, follow the show DA Sports Podcast on Instagram, DA Sports Pod on X. He is April 1982 on Instagram, and Andrew at DA Sports on TikTok.
Check out the TikTok. It's a lot of fun.
Little amusing. I'm not
Definitely
gonna lie.
music. Definitely music.
I am D Lines 1991 on X, and we'll catch you down the road.
Later, guys.